guys, I just wanted to pop on here quick, even though I have hundreds of footnotes to format for my upcoming book, but I was already kind of gussied up, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But I wanted to say hi and let you guys know about a new opportunity that I think is going to be a benefit to both of us. I have joined Patreon, a platform that allows people to sponsor their favorite artists and creators so that those people can spend more time creating and less time hustling. I think it's a really cool idea. Don't we all want to imagine ourselves as old-timey patrons of the arts, sitting on our ancestral estates, helping out starving artists and bringing beauty into the world? But that's actually why I hadn't joined Patreon before, even though you guys are super sweet and a few of you had suggested it. I just have to assume that the vast majority of you guys do not have ancestral estates, and I'm not starving, and I don't even really consider myself an artist. I'm more of a haver of whims and opinions and a compiler of things, and that doesn't feel quite the same. I've always thought of this as a hobby and something that I would want to be doing anyway. But to be fair, it's an expensive hobby. I started blogging back in January of 2013, which is right after blogs were already declared dead. Social media is a great and really cost-effective way to reach people, but I still really like the long format blog, and I like the idea of having a platform where I can reach people that isn't dependent on the people who run social media. So I want to stick with my blog, but I don't want to abandon it. For many years, my blogging expenses on Google's Blogger platform held steady at $25 a year, which felt like a pretty reasonable hobby expense. But then Google stopped supporting Blogger. It still exists, and you can still have a blog on Blogger, but if anything goes wrong with the platform, they're just not going to fix it, and that felt kind of dangerous, the idea that if something goes sideways there, that all of my blog posts would just disappear. So I made the decision to migrate over to WordPress, which has a lot more bells and whistles, but is a lot more expensive. I had to get an IT guy because I don't understand all that stuff. I have a virtual assistant to help me now with all the behind-the-scenes stuff. I have subscriptions to PicMonkey for my graphics and Adobe for formatting booklets and other types of printables. I have MailChimp for the new newsletter that goes out every 2 weeks to give you heads up on liturgical living in the home ideas. And those are all expenses that are related to the blog, and some of those expenses actually increase with the number of followers. So it's always so great to have more people, but that does make a difference in the bottom line. So I now spend about 300 times that original $25 a month over the course of the year to keep the blog going. And that's not counting the series of liturgical living videos that I had sponsors for, some of them, for last year. But that's why I started the shop, and the printables there, and especially the monthly booklets, and the sales from those were do cover my expenses, but only if I can come up with new things that people want to buy every month, because the monthly expenses of the blog are recurring. So that means I'm hustling to create new shop content, and I'm spending time on creating, staging and photography and doing the listings, and all that gives me less time to work on blog posts and YouTube videos and that kind of content that I get excited about creating and that I know that you guys want. And still, I didn't want to go on Patreon because this system was working. It was time consuming, but it was working. And the way I've sometimes seen the Patreon used is that patrons get early access to content and they get exclusive content that other people don't get. And I just really wasn't looking to do that. I know that it's good for some platforms, but this just wasn't what I was looking for my blog. I want everybody to have all the same access to my blog posts and videos and everybody to still be able to get in touch with me. But then multiple people started asking if I could provide monthly subscriptions to some of the monthly liturgical living printables that I have in the shop currently, so that they wouldn't have to go to the shop and make those purchases each month. And that seemed like a really good idea, but I couldn't figure out, maybe you can, but I couldn't figure out how to do that in my current shop. And then I was talking with my assistant Grace, and she said that she thought that she'd seen people doing that on Patreon. Excuse me, cracker. So we looked into it, and it seems like Patreon is really good for that. So what does all that mean for you? Maybe nothing. All the free blog and video content, all that stays free. The stuff in the shop is still available. The stuff in the shop is still priced the same for now, and all the monthly booklets for now are staying in the shop until we see how this run goes first. But if you like the clip art calendars and the monthly Saint Quote printables, things that have been in my in the like DIY seasonal sets, I have created monthly sets of those so that you get, depending on what tier you sign up for, you get those right through that platform without me having to do photography and listings and stuff. So, for as little as $3 a month, that's the lowest tier, you get a new liturgical living poster that you can print out and hang on your wall. The one for June is St. John the Baptist, in honor of St. John the Baptist's upcoming feast day in June. The next tier up gets you one of those sets, like I did, one of those seasonal sets for each month. So just like those other ones, it comes with the little medallions and a description of each of the saints' days, a little backstory on each of the saints' days, some quotes of saints for that month that you can cut out and put on the wall. I like this little, this big giant hole punch cutter. Cuts them out really easily. My kids really like these, and it's been a really good way for us to sort of discuss the saint of the day in a quick and easy way at breakfast. Anyway, so those will be available exclusively through Patreon, along with there's different levels that will get you physical copies, hard copies of my books and booklets. I actually have, I usually do 1 to 2 big public speaking events per month, and I bring books with me to sell at those, and they have all been canceled. So I have all these boxes of books in my garage. So I would love to get them into someone's hands so that people are using them. So this is another way that we can do that. And the Saint Quote, the clip art calendars are going to look like that every month. The colors will vary, but they're those same little circle cutouts. So you'll be able to do those if you're interested in them. And they have the month and the date right on there, so you don't have to wonder if you're picking the right day off. It's right on there, and even the movable feast. So my kids really like them, and that's why I wanted to create them and make them available for you. But this way I don't have to do a lot of product staging and photography and creating listings. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a win for everybody. And that this platform is going to allow me to offer updated monthly prayer booklets eventually. I would really love to start work on a liturgical living cookbook and maybe workshop recipes with you guys, people who subscribe on Patreon. It would allow me to share things like that I don't want to actually list in the shop, and just basically spend more time on books and creating blog and video content, because I'm not having to hustle every month to try to cover blog expenses. So the other thing I was going to tell you is that the reason that I had my makeup done on a random quarantine Thursday is because the husband, Jim, and I were working on our talk for the Catholic Marriage Summit, which is an amazing online program over a weekend. that features some really amazing speakers, including like Scott and Kimberly Hahn, big time people. And it's going to be presented free online from June 11th through 13th. But there's also an all access pass that you can choose to purchase if you want, and that gets you access to other workshop type aspects of the weekend, and I think gives you access to the talks for longer, because I mean there are like 40 something couples presenting over the weekend, and it looks like a lot of amazing content. I will put that link down below in the comments, as well as the link to my brand new Patreon platform in the comments. And please do not feel obligated to become a patron. Nothing is going to change on the blog or even in the shop right now. All that stays the same. This is just consumable content that will really be worth putting up in the blog shop, that is going to be available to you guys and allows you to support my creation of Catholic content, and hopefully help you with some liturgical living in the home and learning about saints and feast days. So thank you for considering subscribing, and we will see you later. Bye.